Go ahead.
All right. Hey guys, welcome to Real Estate Nightmares with Miguel and Carlos. What is this, episode 4?
Episode 4.
Man, we've come such a long way. All right. So last time we talked about the kind of emotional toll that you deal with as a landlord dealing with evictions and just tenant disputes in general. Today I have 4 videos queued up. And I just really want you guys to take a look at the attitude of these landlords and how they're approaching these situations, right? Last time we critiqued a little bit one of the landlords showing up, kind of being a little bit dramatic, feeling very indignant and self-righteous in the moment. We want to avoid that because this is all business as usual, right? You, as your landlord, you will have to deal with this. And the ultimate goal of PTI and these videos is to get you guys to a point where you feel comfortable engaging with your tenants, engaging with these situations, and it's not dramatic, it's not scary, it's not stressful, and 9 times out of 10 you're not dealing with it yourself, right? That's the goal here. So we're gonna dive in and watch these videos, and me and Carlos will pause like we usually do partway through, and then we'll talk about it.
All
Anything
right.
you want to add, Carlos?
Bring it. Bring on the nightmares.
All right, here we go. These are pretty good. I think you guys are gonna like these. This time we pulled them all off of TikTok. Usually we get them off of YouTube, but here we go.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what we have in store for this week.
All right, so first one is from our guy Ultra Kellen. Let's go ahead and play this.
All right, so one of my tenants just moved out, and I know she lived rough, and so I wish, actually not wish, I'm gonna show you some older images to how all this looked back when I first got it redone. And so
Oh boy.
this tenant, she wasn't, the worst as far as like,
I'll
dealing
jump
with
up a
stuff.
little
I
bit.
mean, so yeah, so this clearly has fallen down,
What
and
did
then
they
you see
do
how
in this
dirty.
house, man?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. I want you guys to take note of his attitude, right? He kind of already knew because he knows his tenants, what the house is going to look like. Everything's dirty, everything's messy. He's not surprised. Like this
Mhm.
isn't this isn't like a scary thing for him. This is a more seasoned and experienced investor. This level of professionalism and competence is where we want to get all of the folks that we work with over at PTI.
Mm.
And this comes, yes, from years of experience. It also comes from a significant level of preparation and having the right emotionality when dealing with situations like this.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, look at it. Like
I
cabinets
mean,
are
good
completely
Lord.
torn up. Yeah,
Mhm.
and you walk into these properties and you wonder, like, how does this happen? Like, really, how does this happen? And the fact is that's not your job to understand as a landlord, right? It's your job to prevent it, and there are quite a few ways that we can help prevent that. Like, looks like we had either a leak or a leak in the ceiling or something. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
just the level of dirt everywhere and the
Yeah.
level
Like
of damage.
what's happening to the point where it's like, was it like this before
This
they
is
got there, or like how does this even happen where the cabinets come off? Like, what do you do to the
Oh,
cabinet? Is
hold
somebody hitting
on.
it, or like
This is new. I've never seen that before.
like
That
string?
cabinet is held together by a shoestring. And you can see the
It's
whole
pretty
thing fell
creative, but
off.
like how? First of all,
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And that's the thing. Like, this is the kind of tenant that, for one reason or another, they decided, hey, I'm not going to call my landlord for a repair, right? Maybe they didn't want to get dinged. Maybe they didn't want to get charged. But this is why we do those quarterly inspections. This is why we set the expectation that we're going to come in, look at the apartment, and make sure that everything is the way that it needs to be.
yeah,
Because if stuff like this doesn't get reported, then suddenly you look like the jerk because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing as the landlord. Meanwhile, the tenant probably never told you in the first place that this happened because they caused it and they don't want to get charged.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. I
we'll
mean,
we'll keep watching some more.
and definitely checking in with the tenant is
Hmm.
such a huge deal just to see how they're doing and all the other stuff.
Yes,
Really, it's a way to kind of see that. Like, how does a tub look like that? Like, how?
it just has not been cleaned.
Like, ever? Like,
Like
how
that
does
is
that even
that is
happen?
probably a year's worth of just grime and filth that was just never cleaned.
Wow.
And
He's
then
like,
you can
he's
see
just
the
used
the
to it. You can tell
walls,
he's
the
used to it. Look at his
doorway.
eyes, man. He's just, this
Yeah.
is just a Thursday.
Yes,
Just a Thursday, man. Thursday,
absolutely.
you
This
know.
is normal. This is casual. This is part of the risk that you take as a landlord is dealing with situations like this, right? And when you go into it understanding the risk, understanding how to resolve it, understanding the likelihood of it actually happening, and you're comfortable with all of those things beforehand, you can walk into a situation like this and just think, okay, cool, I'm gonna have to get my cleaners to come in and do this. I'm gonna have to repaint this. I'm gonna have to, replace these blinds. It doesn't turn into this big traumatic thing that's like sucking up all of your energy and time. So let me jump kind of towards the end here. So yeah, went through inspection, section 8.
Man, I wonder how much
That's
is it
another.
cost though. How much is it going to cost to repair?
Oh, this is actually relatively tame as far as like a bad turnover.
Mhm.
You're probably looking, the most expensive thing here is probably going to be that cabinet and those appliances if he decides to replace them.
Okay.
Holes in the drywall, not a big deal. But yeah, so I would, just ballpark, I'd probably put this at about a $5,000 renovation to get
Mhm.
this back to the same condition that it was in before.
Mm.
So, you think $5,000 plus the unpaid rent, plus, the stress and everything else. It is the cost of doing business. Let's be honest about that, right? But it is also the kind of thing that you can prevent and that you can prepare for because it is an eventuality. If you own enough units, if you have enough tenants, eventually you will have to deal with a situation like this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a part
All
of it.
right.
It's just humans, I guess, just doing what they do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. People's lives change one day to the next, right? One day, Wednesday, somebody's a great tenant. Thursday, they get addicted to drugs, they have a mental health crisis, they enter a financial hardship situation, and Friday, they're not such a great tenant. It happens. Let's move on to the next one. So this is just a general clean out video.
I've done so many move out cleans.
We'll mute this one as well.
Okay.
So
But what?
one
Hey,
thing to note of here.
why do they always have rainbow colors? What is that? Is it because of the daycare? I've seen that. Like,
I have no idea. And the thing is, that is an indicator that this tenant took ownership of this property. Not legal ownership, but they felt like they owned this place. They could do whatever they wanted, right? So things like that, it's like they sat down, took the time to paint all of those stairs. They had a certain aesthetic that they were going for, and that's all fine and dandy. But if those modifications were not approved by the landlord, like again, that's the kind of thing that you can catch in an inspection extremely fast,
mm,
you know?
mhm.
And in all, like let's assume you walk in and you start seeing, all the stuff on the walls.
My
Looks like they
question
were
is this:
doing something
why
with the
is
flooring.
there a oven muffin maker on the floor? Is that the
I have
kitchen?
no idea.
Okay. It's the kitchen. Never mind.
I don't think, yeah, I don't know if that's actually the kitchen.
Mushrooms. They got mushrooms on the wall.
Yeah, this to me looks like college students.
Okay. They got a cat and a
Yeah,
dog.
cats.
Man, this is a girl's room, I guess. Lord have mercy.
She had a communist flag on the ceiling. Yeah, it's definitely college students.
Oh,
That's funny. This might be in Philly.
you think so?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, wow.
Oh, they left the fish. Oh man,
No,
that's
not the
sad.
fish. Oh my God. This left it there. It's just, when am I going to eat?
The water's already looking dirty.
Oh, man.
Yeah. No, but it's again, somebody felt comfortable enough to start doing all of this stuff and making all of these changes.
Yeah.
And if they're not prepared to change it back, and if that conversation has not been had prior to these changes happening, then they're not going to get fixed, right? Like,
Yeah.
and this, I can already tell this already is going to be more
How
than
is there
whatever
a
they took
communist
in.
Berenstain Bear?
That's a Care Bear, bro. That's not a Berenstain Bear.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. I
You
don't
can, yeah,
know.
you can be both. No,
Okay.
but like all of this, like the glitter, bro, like all of this is going to be such a pain to change.
Yeah.
And it's not that there's a ton of damage here. It's just in order to get it re-rented, you're going to have to get to a certain level of finish, right? And in order to do that, someone's going to have to tear up all of this tile that they added. They're going to have to repaint all of this stuff. And it's going to be all of this. Like, although I don't think that it was malicious, right? It was just inconsiderate at the very least. All of it's going to come out to more than that security deposit is. So that landlord has two choices. Either they're going to have to eat that cost, or they're going to have to go back to that tenant and say, hey, I need another $2,000 in order to get to the house to where it was before. Right.
Yeah.
And then that can turn into court drama and everything else.
Yeah,
So
I know with my tenants, I always tell them to reach out to me and say, hey, I want to make a change. Just like, okay, just tell me what it is and I'll let you know
Mhm.
if it can happen, because it's not just you there. As much as this place is your home, it still is a property that I have to rent out to somebody else. So there can't be
absolutely.
dramatic changes or painting the
Yeah.
walls purple and stuff, because it's like there's just too much effort on my end.
The funny thing for me is I have a slightly different approach. I tell them to let me know if they're going to make any changes. And typically, if I recognize it's not going to add value to the property, generally, I'll ask them for an extra security deposit. You know,
Okay.
they'll say, okay, I want to repaint this room. All right, I'm going to need an extra $200. Just in case you don't repaint it, I'm happy to give it back to you at the end of release. But if you don't, then I'm going to need that extra money to get this where it needs to be. You know, and if somebody's like installing like a smart thermostat, for example, like that, I'm not going to ding them for because that adds value. But if it's a customization, like anything that's happening here, like, yeah, I'm going to need extra money in order to make that happen for you.
Mm, mm, mm,
Yeah.
Lord.
Let's jump to the end and see what else we can see. Yeah, it's rough, man. Looks like at some point they moved the fridge. I don't know why they would want to get behind it. And even just the mess too. Again, it's just a level of inconsiderateness for what this house is going to have to go through in order to get rented again. And the average tenant isn't really going to care about that. That's why you
Yeah,
need to
what is
protect
what is
yourself.
what is the cost for this? Like the cost of this mistake?
You know, honestly, this one would probably be more expensive than the other one to repair because there's just so much detailed work that you're gonna have to spend a lot of money on labor here. So you're probably looking at $6,000 or $7,000 to get this back to
Wow.
where it needs to be. And
Wow.
that's like repainting, that's removing tile, reinstalling it, like all of that stuff. It's yeah. You're better off dealing with holes in the wall than
Mhm.
you are with a situation like this.
So is it
And
safe
that's
to
just
say
from
that is it safe to say it's a better investment probably to come to the club and figure this out before it gets to you? And then you
oh,
pay
absolutely.
thousands of God knows how much dollars?
Absolutely. And the other thing is with college rentals, right? Something like this, I would assume that the rents are high, so the returns are good. And also, if you're dealing with a situation, again, another way to protect yourself, you're renting to students, they don't necessarily have a good credit score. Get mom, dad, all of the roommates, all of the co-signers, get everybody on there, that lease and financially responsible to get this apartment back to where it needs to be. Joint and mutual liability, it's a beautiful word. It means that everybody is responsible regardless of whether or not one person pays. So yeah, something like that is not the thing that an average landlord would know at the very beginning of their career, but over time, it's something that you learn and something that we definitely teach in our group.
So let me ask this really quick. So
Mhm.
recently I was contacted by a person who has some issues with their HVAC and it not being
Mhm.
done right, and now there's mold and all this other stuff. Obviously, I told them they should, obviously get coaching. And they were
Yeah.
like, well, can you tell me how to fix it right now? And I'm like, look, I mean, this is a part of it. Either you can learn now or you can learn on the job, right? You can learn while your
Yes.
investment journey,
Mhm.
and you have to choose what you're going to do.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to those people that decide that it's not enough, that they don't want to, for some reason, they don't want to invest the money to learn how to run their business properly?
Would you rather spend, let's say, $5,000 to fix a problem, and now you fixed one problem and you know how to fix that one problem, or spend the same amount of money to learn how to prevent that problem from happening in the first place, as well as a myriad of other problems, right? If you think about that one HVAC repair at that one property, right? That's one unit, and maybe you found one vendor that you're probably overpaying because you don't know how to negotiate, and you've resolved that one issue,
Mm-hmm.
and multiply that by your electrical systems, by your plumbing systems, by tenant situations, by legal situations. All of this is stuff that we can help walk you through in PTI. Like, I've been doing this for 10 years. Carlos has been doing this for what, 6, 7, 8 now. Um, we have enough experience that we've done all of this ourselves. And the bigger, most important thing is we've paid for coaching, and over the course of our career, we've learned from other people's mistakes. We've sat with other real estate investors for years. They hosted Cash and Coffee in Philadelphia for 7 years in a row, the longest running real estate group in Philly. Sitting down with other investors, talking about these problems, talking about how to resolve them, right? So we've picked up that knowledge. And what we're saying is, hey, we're going to package it up for you. We're going to hand feed it to you, at your pace for the next X amount of weeks. And at the end of it, we're still going to be here to support you because you've worked with us in the past. Now we have a relationship. So you can get that information, you can get that guidance from someone who's actually credible, who's done the thing that you're trying to do without having to go through the school of hard knocks and spend all of this money, get taken advantage of by vendors, by tenants, by legal situations.
Yeah, it
There's
was
an
it was
easy way
cute.
to avoid it.
It was cute what the person said. They were like, I paid the money to the person. They should be doing the right thing. That was cute. You know,
And that's a
I was
lesson. That's something that you learn super, super fast. And just in business in general. Like just because you pay somebody for something does not mean that you now have leverage or that there is accountability in that situation. Some people are literally just trying to take advantage of you, right? It happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a part of business, but how do you know
Hmm.
that unless somebody tells you?
Yes, you have to know what to look out for. And
Right?
that's what
You
we
don't
teach.
know. If you don't know, it's like, well, get prepared to get got.
Yeah, yeah, and it happens. It does happen. Again, that is part of doing business. Like you will deal with situations and people like that, but it is your responsibility, not everybody else's. Your responsibility to protect yourself, and you have to arm yourself with knowledge to know how to deal with how to deal with those situations.
Yeah, yeah. Just it's just so easy to submit to the higher power and say you're supposed to do the right thing, ain't you?
It
No,
is. It is.
so it's so
The
easy,
problem is,
so easy.
the problem is, and I see this with tenants, I see this with landlords. The minute that you view yourself as the victim of a situation, regardless of whether or not you are, you lose all power over that
Mhm.
situation. You say, I should not have been put here. I didn't ask for this. This is not what I signed up for. That's not the expectation that was set. And it's like now you're leaving it to somebody else to resolve this for you. And it's already been made clear your best interest is not aligned with their best interest.
Yeah,
That's why you're in this situation in the first place.
yeah,
So it's again, we want to protect. We want to teach you how to protect yourselves from situations like this and how to conduct yourself as a business person, so you don't lose your mental focus from whatever it is that's getting you paid, that's
yes,
making you money. Like
yes.
that's the
And
goal here.
honestly, that's what 90% of this is.
Yes.
Protecting assets. That's really
Yes.
what real estate is for protecting your wealth, protecting your assets, and making sure people don't kind of mess it up for the lighter term instead of the F bomb, because they're probably gonna, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna mess it up with the F word, because
Yeah.
that's really the majority of what's going on. You got the government trying to have rent control, you have tenants that don't want to pay because they heard you were a bad person, people
Hmm.
against capitalism because they think that investing in real estate is a bad thing. Then you got contractors that think you're rich, so now they want to take a piece of that as well. It's just
Yes.
everything's almost against you, but you actually don't really know it until you figure it out one day after
Yeah.
you basically lose hundreds and thousands of dollars, not to mention the people that want to go into flips by themselves and think that they're going to make 50,000 with their eyes closed out. Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
flip this house and I've seen it on TV, and God only knows. Maybe we should do that for the next episode, the flipping nightmares, and
Yeah.
just all the things that have happened to people that do these flips and they're not educated, because it's just they think it's like TV. This isn't a TV business. This is real,
Yes.
and you have to work with people you trust, and things
Hmm.
have to be stable, and everybody's coming after you. So you got to like protect yourself, and that's like a part of wealth building, um, because real estate isn't just a business; it's like a wealth building asset and a bunch of other stuff too. So it's like people have all these preconceived notions about what real estate is, but it's actually
Yes.
nothing like how people think. It's worth it, absolutely.
Hmm.
When you look at your checks, you get to keep all your money, especially if you invest the way we talk about at PTI, where you use your
Hmm.
real estate income to pay all your bills, and then whatever your main source of income, you just get to keep it all. That's great. But
Yes.
the other part where you actually have to maintenance this, if you don't maintenance it properly, they're coming for you. So
Yeah.
that's just, it sounds worse than what it is, but if you're educated, it's not as bad.
Yeah.
It's only
Yeah.
bad
And
when you're not.
ultimately, the goal is to prevent 90% of problems and to be prepared with the other 10%, right? That's what it means to protect your assets. You are prepared for every inevitability and you prevent it from happening 90% of the time. That's what it means to be a
That's all we can
responsible
do.
landlord. That is all we can do.
So it's
Absolutely.
a part of it, just part of the game.
Hmm.
All right, let's hit
Totally.
the next video. I'm excited to see what's next.
All right. So let's this one's a nice little short one. It's only 27 seconds.
Okay, I need you to share your screen.
Yep, I gotcha.
Sound.
All right, all right. I'm gonna play the sound. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but I'm gonna play it on this one.
I have been waiting for this eviction for 3 months. The day finally came. They smashed all the windows.
Woo!
They wrecked the entire interior of the house, too. But I was planning to demo the house anyway, so joke's on them. They should have saved their energy for something else, but oh well. Excited to finally get my property back. I have been
All right, so that one's nice, cute. I love the little woo woo woo
Yeah,
music.
got the music there.
Yeah, I like the attitude that this landlord had towards the situation. I do want to take note of a few things, right?
the
So
day
looking at the
finally
house,
came.
let me stop that. All right, let's get inside. So we got some junk outside. So it's pretty evident from this that whoever was living here was malicious, right? They were maliciously trying to cause damage.
Yeah, I was thinking
They're
about that.
maliciously, yep, trying to make the house as bad as possible for this landlord when they come in. Particularly the windows, like that's going to be relatively expensive. My hope is that this person didn't think to touch the HVAC system, or the plumbing. When you get into that, that's how you can
Framers
really,
raising the walls for to
really destroy the value of a house.
Yeah.
However, the landlord again approached it very professionally. They said, okay, this is the cost of doing business. I'm going to do a renovation anyway. One thing that you have to keep in mind is that there's a lot that you can do to prevent somebody from turning on you that way, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah, I was just
this,
about to ask that. I was about to ask, like,
yep,
like, what are some ways we can stop this? Because my instinct is to get them the heck out of there the moment I see some damage like that. You know?
absolutely. And that's 100% the correct approach. But the way that that conversation sounds is not, oh, you're destroying my property. This is horrible. This is terrible. It's okay. Listen, obviously this is not working out. I want you guys to be successful. I want you to be happy where you live. And given the condition of the house, it needs quite a bit of work for me to get it back to where it needs to be. So before we start talking about evictions or non-payment of rent or all of that stuff, let's sit down and let's come up with a plan. For the next 60 days for you guys to leave. Maybe we can give you guys some money to help you move with moving costs. I can give you a break on the rent, whatever we got to do in order to get you out of here so you can move on to someplace where you will be successful. That's what that conversation sounds like. This landlord probably at some point took an aggressive tone with the tenant, approached it from an adversarial perspective, or, they gave the tenant some reason to feel justified in this behavior. Probably not always, because there are some people out there that are just, violent and awful. But what I've seen 9 times out of 10, you started off this relationship with that tenant with them applying to live there. They submitted an application, they paid you money, they said, hey, can I live in your house? And you said yes, right? You started with a level of grace and acceptance of one another. And that, for one reason or another, deteriorated to the point where that person feels justified in destroying property that is not theirs.
Yeah.
So either that person is, again, emotionally, mentally unreasonable, right? They're always going to victimize themselves, or you did something that caused them to go down the spiral and you never turned it around. We have to separate our sense of justice and our sense of, righteousness in these situations from what it means to be a good landlord and to do good business.
Yeah.
Because the goal here is to make money. And so if an eviction is going to cost you 3 months of unpaid rent, this level of damage, and all of your legal costs on top of it, and you also know that unpaid rent is the number one least recovered form of debt. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that it is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And you know all of this going in. Wouldn't it be easier, less stressful, and cheaper to say, hey, I'm going to give you $2,000. I'm going to need you to be out in the next 60 days. Can you do that? Yeah. Okay, cool. Understand. I'm still going to file for an eviction. I'm still going to send this to my attorney. But when you guys leave, once the house is completely empty, I'll cut you a check for $2,000, or I'll give it to you in cash. Right. Having a level of trust is more important in order for that to happen. And also the tenant really understands at the end of the day too, like, either I'm going to be out of this house at the end of the month with $2,000 in my pocket, or I'll be out in 3 or 4 months with an eviction on my record. So it's it becomes another form of negotiation. And it sucks because you lose all leverage the moment you hand over those keys. The moment that tenant gets occupancy of that unit, all of your leverage is gone as a landlord. It shifts and to the other side.
Yeah.
And so all you can do is prevent yourself from finding yourself in a bad position to begin with, which is, proper tenant screening. We talk about that at PTI. And then also how to approach these conversations when things do start to go bad. And again, I can't harp on this enough. Although we talk about this all the time and we're watching these videos, and the name of the series is Real Estate Nightmares, this is the outlier. This is the worst situation that you will face as a tenant, as a landlord. Probably the only thing that's worse than this is you have somebody die in a unit, and we've dealt with that as well.
Yeah.
This is the worst thing that you will face, and it is very rare that this will actually happen. So we want to prevent, but we also want to prepare for when it happens as well.
Yeah. Man. Good Lord. That's all we can do. Try to, like, hey, you need some coin? Get the heck out of here.
Yeah, I mean, as distasteful as it is, cash for keys is a powerful
Distasteful.
tool.
I see it as
Bro,
good eans to amends. You know,
I think it's gross. It's the one thing about this business that makes me feel particularly gross because I'm paying somebody to stop taking advantage.
that's
It
human
feels like a
nature,
shakedown.
right? Human nature. Okay, let's
It
do the
is. It is
last.
human
Let's
nature.
do the last video.
All right, let's jump in.
So
All
wait
right,
for
here we
the
go.
screen share and sound.
Yep.
I just evicted my tenants, and this is how they left my property. They ripped off
Gustavo
my cabinets,
Pinero.
they took out the sink, they demoed everything, put everything in the living room, and look, I finally found where my kitchen sink's at. They left all the junky furniture here. Now I had to get rid of this. They took a sledgehammer, and look what they did to my bathroom. But they were kind enough to leave me the toilet.
So I want to point this out. They uninstalled the toilet, but they left it there. They literally took it off of the wall, took it off the floor, removed all the plumbing and everything, and then moved it a couple feet to the right.
It's like I had some deep thoughts.
Oh wow!
Yep.
And in case you were wondering what the
Is that an
second
effect or
bathroom
was that
looked
like real dust? No, that was an effect. Okay.
Yeah. They
Good
did leave
God.
this room a little bit better condition. They left some furniture here, but the floorboards are messed up. I guess I need a new AC. Do you think I should take that security deposit? Comment below. I just
All right. So I wanted to share that one. I like this guy. His attitude is just, all right, cool. Like this is it. I got my house back. I'm gonna do the work. Things get done. I'm gonna get it to where it needs to be, and then we're gonna get it re-rented, right? Again, cost of doing business. He's comfortable with the situation, seasoned professional investor, professional landlord. He does this all the time. Again, doesn't happen very often, but prepare for when it does. That's why he's able to approach the situation with a level of jokes, some levity. It's not a big deal. It's just a Wednesday, right? It's just, an unfortunate Wednesday. That's it. And I love that. I love that. That's where I want to get everybody that I work with. And that's where, I fortunately have been able to get to over the years as being a property manager and a landlord. Like you have a level of quiet confidence is probably the best way to describe it.
You know what to do.
Because yeah, exactly. You know what to do. You've already prepared for it.
Mm. Now,
It's huge.
and let me ask this: how does it feel to go from that to
evicted my
being
tenants.
confident? You know what I mean? Like just going from not being confident and nervous to feeling confident now. Like, how does that feel? How was that transition?
The funny thing is that for me, it was very slow. It was very slow because it just took years of getting things wrong before I got it right. It really wasn't until I hired a mentor to help me get to where I needed to be that it's crazy because it's changed over the years. Like I would go to this person with questions, with confusion, with frustration, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, just do this, and this. Oh, just do this, and this."
Yeah.
And it's just like, and then I would leave that conversation thinking, "Oh, okay, cool, I got this. Like I know what to do, whatever." And then some other curveball would happen related to a situation. I had my longest eviction about 2 years ago. It took over a year. I think it was 18 months.
Yeah.
This is in Philly. And it was literally like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. But we eventually got the tenant out. And I would go back to my attorney at the time, was kind of acting as a mentor. And, I'd say, okay, the tenant's doing this. And then you just say, oh, yeah, do this. And tenant's doing this. You'd be like, oh, yeah, no, do this. Yeah. And this is somebody that had 35 years of experience. So even more experience than I was at the time. And they walked me through it. And I just remember thinking, if I had a less competent attorney, or if I didn't have that support system or that resource to go to, I'd be losing my mind trying to resolve this situation.
Mhm.
Right. And it was literally tried every trick in the book, made promises about cash when they leave, and nothing was ever good enough. The tenant reported at one point we had an LNI at the property. It was everything that could have gone wrong went wrong because this person did not want to leave this apartment. And even in their situation was even worse. They had their own reasons for wanting to stay there, even though they didn't particularly like the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately me going in there with my own knowledge base, even after 10 years, like I was still losing my mind trying to resolve what to do next. And it wasn't until I had somebody else that had more experience, that had a greater level of understanding of, what my options were, that they saw things that I couldn't even figure out on my own, that I was able to navigate that situation with that quiet confidence, with that level of, okay, I got this, we can handle this, we can get it resolved, and ultimately we did, and that house cash flow is great today.
Good.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. So I know this was episode 4. We have one more episode coming up, and then we might make a season 2, depending on how everybody likes the video. I want to talk about this really quick before we close out this video. Would you
Sure.
trust ChatGPT's coming out, AIs, and all this other stuff? Would you
Woo!
trust AI for to get your real estate guidance if you were new?
Great question. Great question. And this is something I've been thinking about a lot. So I've been using ChatGPT a lot. I've been using Gemini as well. And the short answer is no. And the
I
reason I will
wouldn't
tell you is,
either. I
well,
wouldn't either. Yeah.
the thing is, it'll tell you 90% of what you need to know, but then it'll make up that last 10%. And it will not tell you if it's making up that last 10%. So you can't trust anything that it's saying. Because like large language learning models, like all they really do is they figure out what word comes next after the previous one based on the topic that you're talking about, right? That's it at a fundamental level. We're not at general artificial intelligence yet. And so it'll scan, let's say, 500 articles. We don't know the credibility of those articles. We don't know who wrote them. We don't know when they wrote them. We don't know how relevant that information is for today. We just know that it was fed into the model and the model spitting it back out to you. So although this business doesn't change that fast, when it changes, it is pivotal, right? The difference between real estate law, tenant relations in 2019 and 2021, huge, right?
Mhm.
We all know what happened in 2020. You can't rely on an AI to give you actual guidance on what you should be doing. Not only that, but that AI has no level of relationship, no level of care for what the outcome of your situation is actually going to be, right? So like at the end of the day, you get evicted, your tenant, you deal with a bad tenant, they destroy the house, let's say they burn the place down. That means nothing to ChatGPT. Like it'll tell you, okay, well, here's how to file an insurance claim,
Right.
right? It will not tell you, here's how to prevent that from happening in the first place. And
Right.
that's what we want to focus on here.
Right. Prevention, but not only that, like I was thinking about this myself while watching the video. I'm like, you know what? Would I be able to type this in? And honestly, I wouldn't even feel confident knowing what I know now, typing it in. And I
Mhm.
knew that it would say, oh, cash for keys. That sounds good. That sounds good. A lot of the stuff that ChatGPT says about real estate sounds good, but is
Yes.
actually not the emotional, number one, the emotional support, the emotional
Yes.
process, and helping a person change from the regular individual to the business owner. It can't transform you.
No.
That's
Yep.
something that
Very well
can't
said.
happen. Yeah, like that's something that can't happen because I was thinking, I'm like, okay, you can know these techniques, but it doesn't give you the confidence. It doesn't give
Hmm.
you you can even ask, how do I prevent this or that? It's like, it's just words. You need
Yes.
somebody there to connect with, talk to, guide you through the process. If you are going to do something in a situation, okay, did I use the right tonality? Did I do it correctly? Am I using the right paperwork? Am I doing everything as a business owner, as a real estate investor and business owner? Am I doing
Yeah.
it correctly? And the only way to know if you're doing it correctly is from a real estate owner or investor. That's it. Like you
Hmm.
cannot transform. And here's what I will say. I know this is getting a little woo woo here, right? It's getting a little spiritual here, guys. But this is about transformation. This is about going
Yeah.
from one state of who you are into this other person.
Yes.
The behaviors, the way you think, the why you think the way you do. After you have this transformation, ChatGPT becomes a tool for you. But until
Yes.
you make the transformation, none of this stuff is going to make any sense. None of this stuff is going to sound good or it's not going to sound right. And even if you follow the information, it doesn't give you the embodied experience of the business
Hmm.
owner and investor. And that's something
Yes.
I can honestly say that people need to become this new individual after the training, because it's not just training. This is a transformation that people are going to go through. So just something I thought about, and especially since
Yeah.
people are so quick to always go to AI or, hey, this will give me the answers. Like if this was the answer, then everybody would be rich right by now.
Yes. Yeah,
So
and it's funny that you bring up the whole woo-woo aspect of this, right? Because it's like we talk, if you go back and watch the series, we bring this up a lot. Like there's attitude, there's professionalism, and then there's your emotional state when you're dealing with these situations,
mhm,
right? We talk about that a lot, and all of that is not something that an AI is going to be able to capture. It's not
mhm,
going to be able to recognize, the tone of your voice, your level of desperation, the your fear of loss. It's not going to be able to recognize any of that. An experienced investor who's been doing this for years is going to hear the way that you're talking and recognize what you're going through because they've gone through it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the connection that you need in order to make that transformation that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that is good, man. I'm not sure if people believe, but I'm a big believer in transformation, and I know that that transformation is something else because you become to this new person. It's a great feeling, and you're just very confident
Mhm.
that you can do anything, and that you can invest anywhere, and that you can handle
Yes.
any situation. And it's not sometimes as simple as Googling it. Because I know this is not like you cannot Google this stuff. It's just something you can't Google.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I wish it was because I wouldn't have used all the money I did over the years on trying to transform myself. But this is essentially transformation. This isn't just a, this isn't just, it's not just information. It's really a transformation, essentially.
No, absolutely. The quickest way to get to wherever you want to be in life is to find somebody who's already doing it and figure out what they're doing and emulate their behavior. And the easiest way to do that is to, have them as a mentor, have access to them,
Yep. Any closing words?
No, that's it. So we'll reconnect next week. It'll be another nightmare. I do like your idea of, talking about the flips because I think that is something that people tend to explore. It's probably like the sizzle when it comes to this business. Somebody talking about, oh, I bought a house for $200,000, put 50,000 into it and sold it for 4. And that does happen. Those deals are out there, but they're not quite that simple and they're never quite that easy. So yeah, let's focus on that next week. And in the meantime, guys, check us out over at PTI. Me and Carlos are cooking up something really, really, really special for you guys, and that is going to be very limited access once it's actually open to folks. But in the meantime, definitely enjoy these videos. Check us out, and we're around if you need us.
See you on the next video, guys.
Take care. Bye.